its very nature, doing big things takes resilience and strength. You did the hard part. You did it, and will go farther still. Max is proud to be your champion, removing obstacles that get in your way. We make technology easy, saving and funds access uncomplicated, and provide help when and how you want it. You control your money with expert guidance from Max Credit Union. Smart money made simple.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. My name's Mike Amos. He is Forrest Lee, and it is the first day of December. And jingle bells all over the place now. Everything's decorated throughout the city, and it's just a great to start a holiday month with Tuesday here this morning. Of course, a lot going on in high school and college football. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about our format for the coming month of December. Of course, with Troy University out until after the 1st of January for us. It's sort of lonesome over there right now.
I imagine so. And
you know, of course, they
come back in January.
That's right, and that's quite a vacation. Do you remember this old semester? I do. Quarterly system.
We got out like right before Thanksgiving. I believe our finals were like the week before Thanksgiving, or that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Then we were out.
That's right. Thanksgiving. In fact, Troy at that time was one of the very few schools that were doing it, and we were getting the head start on jobs. And
that's right, during the Christmas holidays.
You know, back then. Somebody wrapping presents for Christmas. Girls everywhere were trying to get those jobs.
That's right. Yeah.
To wrap.
I'm not a very good rapper.
When is the last time have you seen a store that had a gift wrapping program? You know, or anybody that would? And I would think there'd be a chance that somebody could make some money wrapping gifts. Of course, you know, you don't see them wrapped as much as you used to, but some people like that's one of the fun parts of the holidays is to wrap gifts.
I forgot, I read it somewhere. It was on Facebook. This college girl said, "Hey, I'm free to babysit. I'm free to wrap presents for you. I'm free to help decorate for you." And
what you do, you know, or it could be a good fundraiser. You know, somebody pay you to wrap, you know, gifts, and you give it to a needy cause. Or, you know, there's several things out there, and of course, I know a lot of college students need a little extra income, and I could see somebody just putting up a stand in downtown Troy and said gift wrapping after $1 and up.
And you know, that is the holiday Christmas thing. Not is it this Saturday at downtown Troy?
No.
Where they're having a little.
Hold on one second. Good morning. You're on Today in LA. How you doing?
Hey, good morning.
Where are you calling from, please?
A cold Great Beach, Florida. Not as cold as Troy, Alabama looks like though.
Well, let's see. What's our temperature right now? 30, what? 39? What is it?
Oh, it's more than that. Lower than that.
It was 27 this morning.
27. I thought no, that's what it's supposed to jump to by 10 o'clock this morning. So what is the temperature right now?
It said 27 in Troy when I woke up.
You know, I usually can just ask my telephone at 7:05. First, see if you can beat me to it.
Oh, I don't know how to do that. I mean, I probably figure it out. But
you know, I talked to a buddy of mine, staff meteorologist, Blake Crow.
Yeah.
And Blake Crow called me on his way home from downtown Birmingham yesterday and said it was snowing.
Yeah, it was snowing.
It snowed on him the whole way to his house.
Steve is giving us a temperature. What is it?
27.
27 degrees and bright sunshine this morning. I tell you, when that sun comes up over 231 in the morning, I mean, you can't see anything.
You cannot. I was driving to the country club the other day in Brundage, and when I topped the hill at Sisters, I had to put on my flashers and look at the corner of the road to see where I was going. I almost had to pull off because I couldn't see if anything was in front of me.
Well, let me tell you the sad thing. If you don't like cold weather, the low tomorrow is 26. So we've got 2 freezing nights in a row, and then it's supposed to maybe warm up a little bit. Maybe a little bit of rain might start coming in here the latter part of the week. Troy University travels to the University of South Alabama in what I think is going to be a huge game for both teams. In fact, if Troy could go to South Alabama and win this weekend, they would be just one game away from a possibility of going to a bowl game, believe it or not, with a 6-6 record. Troy has 3 regular season games yet to play. One of them is this weekend in Mobile against South Alabama. The next is a big showdown on the 12th of December against Coastal Carolina. Then, if they'll come, Louisiana Lafayette on the 19th.
The big news,
or 17th.
Game day will be at Coastal Carolina this Saturday.
Monroe.
What, Mike?
La Monroe, not Lafayette.
Oh,
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Game day is going to be at Coastal Carolina.
Thank God Lafayette's not coming. If Lafayette was coming, that'd be a sure loss.
It would be, wouldn't it?
ESPN Game Day is going to be at Coastal Carolina when they play
Can you
Liberty
believe that, Mike?
this Saturday.
Mike, they've moved that fast and that far. Coastal Carolina will host Game Day from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Can you believe that?
Well, their last coach was a billionaire. You know, he probably paid them to come.
Yeah. Is he still living?
Yeah.
When he's sick?
When you go on their website, his name is before the head coach's name.
Oh, really?
As the director of football. I've never even heard of such a title.
So he's still involved, then, isn't he? He's been going out and getting players. Do you reckon that being a billionaire helped him get some players?
I don't know. There's something going on up there that's kind of strange.
I tell you what, their program is very, very good, and no question about it. But I can remember this time a year ago, they thought they had won the World Championship when they beat us in overtime. You remember that? They thought they had won, and now they want to play Vanderbilt. I mean, they sure don't want to play Vanderbilt, but they're ready to play Auburn and Alabama now. They say.
Well, just look, they won the national championship in baseball.
Yeah. From Liberty, you know, Liberty's only lost to NC State when they missed the field goal right before the end of the game.
And you really salute both of those programs this weekend. What we're talking about is Coastal Carolina going head-to-head with Liberty. Of course, Liberty had lost only one game, and that was just last week, and they missed a field goal to do that. And, of course, Coastal Carolina, what are they ranked now? I'm sure they're ranked inside 15, aren't they?
Well, in the bowl championship, they're only ranked, I think, around 20. So they'll come out again tonight.
Yeah.
We'll find out where they're ranked.
BYU
got no respect either. You know, BYU played such a joke of a schedule, and they came out 14. So they're out of the chance of getting into the playoffs too.
Oh man, no, I don't think they will. But again, Troy has their season right in front of them. You know, there's a slot available on Christmas night. That would be fun, wouldn't it?
The National Football League just announced there's going to be 3 games on Christmas Day.
3 games.
The National Football League.
So that would hurt Troy if Troy did make it to that Christmas Day bowl. Of course,
it doesn't matter what your record is. You could be 3 and
it really doesn't, does
3
it?
or 3 and 7. You know, the Bulls can take whoever they want this year.
So if they wanted to bring Michigan down here without a team without a victory, they could do that, couldn't they?
Yeah, they were talking about yesterday if Harbaugh leaves, that Matt Campbell would really want that Michigan job, the Iowa State coach. And he's a great coach. Anybody that got Campbell would be lucky to have.
Yeah, well, that is something.
I mean, that's why I was watching that game. I was telling my wife, my mother-in-law, we're sitting there watching Iowa State, Texas, and I said, how in the world does Iowa State have more talent than the state of Texas?
We got an echo here. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more of Today in LA.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of NAPA Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their NAPA Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. NAPA, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
Okay. All right, brother, you're on Zoom.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back to our show brought to you by Express Oil Change on the bypass, right? And of course, ladies and gentlemen, they've been there for several years now, and you know, to have an opportunity to be able to pull in and not only have your oil changed and your tires checked and your windshield wiper blades looked at, and you know, all of those things are under one price, and now they've got a full-fledged mechanic that can do most anything to your automobile or truck, and we just appreciate them so much. Charlie Donovan brought that facility to Troy, Alabama, several years ago, and of course his son Chris and the family still own that business, and I'd like to have that business, wouldn't you? Being the only fast oil change in town.
His son, his wife is from Manchester, Georgia, same place,
oh, is she?
same
Okay.
hometown as my wife.
She came here as a majorette, didn't she? Wasn't she
I
in the
think
town
so.
of South?
Yeah, you know, I told this story before. Jody, when she was in high school, Joe Namath spoke at her high school football banquet.
Oh boy, yeah.
And I'm trying to think of the guy who was Bill Mathis.
Yep,
that
he
played
was
for
running
the Jets.
back. He played with the Jets, yeah.
And that's
he
how.
played the University of South Carolina, I think.
But he had connections, and Joe Namath spoke at her high school
That was
banquet.
something, yeah. That's something. And I
You
remember.
think anybody's coming out of the woods this morning that's been deer hunting? Probably a good morning to go hunting, isn't it?
Steve, is it deer season now? It is wide open now with a gun, so beware, beware. I know this, when I step in the woods, I say, man in the woods as loud as I can, so somebody won't.
You might want to wear orange.
Mike Amos on Zoom TV this morning from a location in Northwest Florida, and of course.
Yeah, I went out yesterday and got a real Christmas tree.
That was fun, wasn't it? Yeah.
They're going Christmas crazy this year. My girls are now 4 and 3, and they're so excited about every little thing we're doing right now. So it's been a lot of fun.
We got ours from Buddy Starling. Buddy has a bunch of trees.
You know, I asked Buddy yesterday, I said, Buddy, do you have any trees? He said, no, we've sold them all. They pre-sell all of their trees. Now, I think you could still call him, and there might, it might be one that fell through the regular deal, but they pre-sell most all of them.
Well, we got ours the other way. I mean, we just happened to, when we came in from Tennessee, I called him. But we either go there or Stinson's down the Elba Highway.
Yeah, that's right. They cut them down there.
There's some big ones down there, too.
But Buddy had beautiful trees. And, of course, there's also right down here on South Brundage Street, they've got trees there, fresh trees.
Let's talk about Buddy for a second. That rascal has been working for Troy for 30-something years. And he is a tremendous asset. There's no telling his charisma. He's got the umph factor.
That's
but
right.
He has been so important to Troy University and the quality of students that we get. And
let me tell you a little story yesterday.
Were y'all fraternity brothers?
Well, we are, but so Christopher Joel Amos and I are too.
Well, let me tell you.
I'm talking about, were y'all the same age, you and Buddy?
No, Buddy's a little bit younger than I am. Buddy's probably 55, maybe.
With us this weekend, my daughter and son-in-law and their little girl Macon was in town, and this weekend, and they met with my son-in-law's sister. Her son is looking at Troy, as a place to go to school next fall. So she was down here visiting us and wanted to have a interview with the folks at Troy about her son going to school here. Well, to make a long story short, they met with the Troy people yesterday, and they did a great job, and they were very impressed, and they were able to see the university, and he was very impressed. He goes to Oak Hill Academy. You ever heard of that?
Is that in Georgia or Tennessee?
No, it's in Virginia.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Oak Hill.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever heard of Oak Hill?
Basketball.
That's right. A basketball mecca. Mm-hmm. It's a boarding school in Virginia, one of the elite boarding schools in the state of Virginia, and he is the manager of the basketball team.
Wow.
He's the manager, and of course he was a pretty good player himself, but he's the manager of the team, and they've got a game out in California and one out in Texas. They go all over the country to play. Mm. And, of course, one of the top I reckon you would call it a high school for some of them, but a prep school for
Is that where Hurley went to school? Bobby Hurley?
I think so. Some of the all-time greats went to school there. Well, he visited Troy, and he left here with a Troy hat on, and I asked a couple of people, and I just tell you about how sharp Buddy is. I said, y'all probably are familiar with where this young kid goes to school. He goes to Oak Hill Academy in Virginia. And Buddy said, Oak Hill, he said, hey, that's like going to Notre Dame. Hey, that's one of the top boarding schools in the country, and of course with a top-notch basketball program that everybody knows about. Some of the greatest players ever went to Oak Hill. And that young man, did you
drive him around on your golf cart?
Yes, I did. I drove them all around on the golf cart before the interview, and they were very nice. But I just tell you, Buddy was sharp and made him feel so good, and his mother felt so good, and said, we need a guy like that in Virginia. But he knows, and he's been at it, and he's got the personality, and he knows he's proud of Troy. And if you don't love Troy, you sure don't need to sell Troy.
He's been selling it for probably 35, 40 years.
No question about it. And he's one sharp individual, and like you said, he has a lot to do with the students being interested from the ground floor, in Troy, and of course he's got a team there that promotes Troy every day. And like this kid comes from Oak Hill Academy. Well, that's a pretty nice school. When he came to Troy, and he left there yesterday, and I said, "What did you think?" He said, "I am very impressed and I am very interested." And I reckon it doesn't hurt that he's got my wife and I in town that will take care of him if he does come here. That's some great things. Not a lot of buzzing about the Auburn-Alabama game, Mike, but one thing that I've noticed, several players in the SEC are going elsewhere. Have you seen that, or are reneging on their commitments? What do you think? What's happening?
Well, I mean, these guys that are opting out to get ready for the NFL draft, you got a lot of that stuff going on right now. But I mean, let's be honest, these guys are just quitting their team. They're all about themselves. I mean, the Marshall guy could have opted out before the season like Chase did, but he's deciding to do it late. The guy from Oklahoma State, starting tackle yesterday, opted out. I mean, you're just quitting your team, but you can look at it any way you want to, I guess. Yeah,
the quarterback at Georgia has entered the transfer portal, that DeJuan Mathis.
Yeah, you remember him?
And there's been 2 commitments. The Hewitt-Trussville running back, Armani Godwin, who had committed to Auburn, has decommitted. And there's a 5-star linebacker who had, last year he decommitted to Florida. He committed to Tennessee. Now he's decommitted from Tennessee. And so it's just
I tried to watch basketball last night. Alabama was a 2-point favorite playing Stanford in the Maui Classic. But the funny thing is they can't play in Maui, so they're playing in Asheville, North Carolina, which is a beautiful place, probably my favorite place to visit. Alabama's playing Stanford. Jaron Haas, former great UAB coach, is out of Stanford. And Alabama gets blown out 82-64 last night to Stanford in basketball. Nate Oates is supposed to have one of the best teams on paper at Alabama in years, but they got a long ways to go. They couldn't shoot to save their lives last night.
That's the problem, is that you can't, with the basketball weather, it's hard to find somebody that can shoot the basketball. Like I remember.
Yeah, I mean, you can be as athletic as you want to be, but eventually you got to have guys that can shoot the 3. And Stanford did, and Alabama did.
Yeah, Auburn got beat by Central Florida, I believe.
Yeah, and that's another
63.
Auburn team that was preseason ranked high. Did you hear what Barnes said? Central Florida beat them.
Wake Forest, Troy's off because of COVID, so Troy was going to play an ACC school on Wednesday, and now that game's been canceled. They're going to have to reschedule 2 games already. They're going to have to reschedule Middle Georgia and the Wake Forest game. Troy now will play UAB on Sunday in Birmingham. That'd be a good game.
UAB on Sunday. Gosh, that'd be a good time to be up there. You're right.
Do they play at this? Where do they play, Mike?
UAB plays at Bartow Arena.
Bartow Arena. Okay.
That would be a good place to go. Now they play it in Troy too, don't they? Isn't it a home and home?
I think they're only going to play because of COVID issues. I think they're only going to play in Birmingham.
Boy, this thing. Hey,
Forrest, you mentioned yesterday UAB is going to play middle in football this weekend, so that'll be a good gauge for Troy fans to see where UAB's at compared to where Troy's at if UAB goes into Murfreesboro and blows them out this weekend.
I had a good talk with Johnny Williams yesterday, and I learned a little bit about the way things are going. And let me just say this: you can get anybody you want. They could be 3-6 or 5-7 or whatever, but most of the bowls want teams with winning records. They don't want anybody with a losing record, and so you folks that are worried about that, I don't think you'll have to worry too much about the way the bowls look at that, because those bowls have to draw people and to the stands to make money, and of course they've got to also have a sponsorship interest, especially with the way the situation is now. So The bowls are very conscious of the teams that are out there, and I could see them though taking a team from say the SEC that was 6-5 or 6-6 over a team that was that played a lot poor schedule that would say 7-6 or something like that. Wouldn't you think?
Right.
The bigger schools will draw bigger probably.
Right, and have a bigger fan base.
That's
but,
right.
UAB travels to Middle Tennessee, and they play at 2:30.
They're going to play at 2:30 at Middle Tennessee, Mike. That's a great opportunity for UAB to put another win under their belt, and will notch a good bowl game, it looks like.
Well, after that, they're supposed to play Rice, but that has not been announced. They're supposed to play at Rice.
UAB's missed 3 straight weeks. I mean, can you imagine that?
That is sad. This is just sad. And, if you think it's bad in football, just think how bad it's going to be in basketball. It's going to be terrible. It could go day to day, you in basketball.
Haven't we got some cancellations already for this weekend?
For this week, yeah, we do. You know, what is Vegas trying to tell you here on the Troy game? Line started at 1.5, now it's 4.5. So does that mean people are jumping on Troy?
Gosh, man, I tell you, how can anybody jump on Troy? You're right. It's been like that. It's been like that the whole season.
That's what I'm saying. It's a very similar weird line to that Arkansas State game when Troy ended up. They ended up, only being a 2.5-point underdog going into that game.
And I'm gonna go back to that game. That was one of the biggest wins in Troy State, Troy University's history, in my opinion, to go to Arkansas State and beat them like we beat them. That was a huge win. That was a top 5 win.
Now Arkansas State is 3-7, so they've
I know.
Arkansas State too.
I know it exactly. And
how did that Arkansas State team beat Kansas State? Kansas State's not hard.
I know, and Kansas State is really good too. You're exactly right. Forrest Lee's with us this morning.
My question with Troy though is, this is Chip Lindsey's kind of biggest game of his career by far. You're 4-5. You're coming off 5-7 last year. Do you finally do something different? Do you run some trick plays? You really had no imagination this year.
A Pomerooski.
Do you do a halfback pass? Do you do a flea flipper?
Exactly.
Where's the imagination? Do you run a
A
reverse?
double reverse pass back to the quarterback.
Do you fake a field goal? Do you fake a punt? Where's the imagination?
Exactly.
Program. It's just kind of like, I don't understand it. Do you play a new quarterback?
Yeah, that's. I think they need to look at that closely.
Do you start the big strong kid, the big 6'3", 230-pound running back out of Texas A&M? Do you do something different to?
And another thing, Mike. Where was Free, Free? Where was Free this past weekend? Was he? Didn't he make the trip? Did he?
I don't know. The only people that were on the COVID list that were starters from the week before were Vidal, didn't play. Denham, the tackle that's been starting for 3 years, I guess had COVID, and then Solomon, the really good young defensive man out of Tallahassee that plays Gooseby. He's a great player, and he didn't play.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I assume everybody will be back full strength. At least, you would think.
And the coach will be back too, hopefully.
You can't blame Troy's defense this year. That hasn't been an issue. That's the thing. They don't have an identity. If you go into Appalachian State, they got beat 48-13 in Troy last year, and then you get beat this year 47-11. But if you had a really good offensive team, you could blame it on the defense. That's kind of what Troy had last year. They had a really good offense, but a really horrible defense.
Yeah.
This year they've got a lot better defense, and then the offense has just gone backwards.
Well,
it's been really, really bad offense this year.
Well, you can say they had a pretty good defense until this weekend. They didn't impress me very much this past weekend.
I know, but you got to admit they're so much better than last year.
Yeah. Of course, Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, we appreciate them very much. Let's go to our phones. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
Hey, Mike. Will Matthews.
Hey, Will. How you doing?
Good morning.
We're talking ball, of course, this morning on Today in L.A. It's 27 degrees in Troy. How cold is it down in Dothan?
29.
29 degrees, and it's going to be colder tonight. Low here tonight supposed to be 26.
Wow.
You know, it snowed. I was talking to Johnny Williams, and he was in Tuscaloosa yesterday, and he said it was snowing pretty hard actually in Tuscaloosa.
I talked to my Vanderbilt buddy in Nashville, and it snowed in Nashville.
Well, we've got the list of the folks that you want. Let's bring Mike Amos in here real quick. We'll, if we can do it, I think we can. Okay, we got both of them now. We're good today. Steve must have worked overnight on here. All right, hear this, Will. You're perfect to answer these questions. These are the candidates that we know for the Vanderbilt job. Jay Norvell, the Nevada coach. For 7 years, Norvell was one of Bob Stoops' top assistants at Oklahoma. Clark Lee, a Notre Dame defensive coordinator. Kurt Cingnetti, the James Madison coach. Sean Lewis is the Kent State coach. Listen to this. Jamie Chadwell is the Coastal Carolina coach.
That's who I heard is going to get it.
All right, and now already he's in the short list for the South Carolina job. Of course, he should be in the mix.
You know who's getting the most steam for the South Carolina job is Neil Brown.
Really?
Everywhere now.
Whoa, that would be big.
Well, you talking about making you talking about a fan base being extremely angry and disappointed if he leaves West Virginia, which is, I'd say, a lateral move. I'd stay at West Virginia over South Carolina.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I would. If I could be in the SEC, I'd jump up and down and do backward flips, Mike.
You know, West Virginia is the 14th winningest program in the history of college football.
I sure didn't know that.
I bet they're not the 14th highest paid coach, though.
Yeah, he makes 3.5, I think, at West Virginia. South Carolina would pay for like 4.5.
Yeah. Lance Leopold, the Buffalo coach. Now, he's the guy that's got Buffalo playing real good. And those are just a few of the guys, the team.
Do you know Buffalo had a running back that rushed for 400 yards this past weekend?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been pretty
Eight touchdowns.
Good. He's been pretty good. 8 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns is not bad. Will, what's on your docket today, Will? Will Matthews.
I've got a real easy week this week. Nothing really.
Okay.
Y'all had a SEC Player of the Week for special teams. Sarah Fuller was a Southeastern Conference Player of the Week for special teams.
Oh yeah, the girl that your soccer girl was the SEC what?
Player of the Week.
Player of the Week
for special teams.
Oh, special teams.
That's a joke.
Will, did you watch the match with Nicholson and with Barkley against Peyton and Seth Curry? That was amazing how well he had Barkley play. I mean, Barkley hit into the fairway and did what he had to do, and they blew him out.
You know, Barkley evidently got some real coaching because a year ago he couldn't even hit the ball. You know.
Yeah, bad hitch and swing, but that's gone now.
But you know what? That doggone. You know, if he practiced long enough, you might see our Archie Manning's boy being in playing golf somewhere. He's a pretty good golfer, isn't he?
He's a good golfer.
You know, the biggest thing about the South Carolina job is you get a membership to Augusta. That might be something if you were a huge golfer.
Now, I know that was the case with Spurrier, Mike, but I didn't know that was the case with all the.
Spurrier and Lou Holtz, what I was told.
Yeah, and of course that's a great. A lot of people say that's why South Carolina was able to get him to coach there because of that. But those are two big job openings, Vanderbilt and South Carolina. And South Carolina now, we're talking about they'll play big bucks, $5 or $6 million probably for a coach, wouldn't you think?
Well, I doubt it. I doubt the guy from Coastal Carolina will get that kind of money.
You know, would he bring it?
Yeah,
Would he bring?
Because they're paying off Muschamp.
Yeah. Would they bring the billionaire guy with him? You know, you might. I don't know. I'm, you know, he has really built this Coastal Carolina job, no question. So that all remains to be seen. And this is just a short list. This is there'll be a lot of other names in this group. You know, they say that.
Heath Reed's is gonna go somewhere.
Yeah, and of course they've got a big game this weekend.
I guarantee Heath Reed wants the Tennessee job if Pruitt keeps on losing. That's the job he wants, is right here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to also mention this weekend's college game day will be held at Conway, South Carolina, the home of the Coastal Carolina, whatever you call them. Chanticleers, or whatever you call them. And that right there is big for the Sun Belt right there, to have one of their teams. You know,
I've got the coaching salaries for the Southeastern Conference.
Okay.
Sam Pittman, Arkansas, $2.9 million. Derek Mason, Vanderbilt, $3.5. Lane Kiffin, Mississippi, $3.76. Pruitt, Tennessee, $3.8. Elijah Drinkwitz, Missouri, $3.9. Muschamp at South Carolina was $4.3. Leach, $5 million. Stoops, $5 million at Kentucky. Leach is at Mississippi State. Mullins, $6 million at Florida. Malzahn, almost $7 million at Auburn. Kirby Smart, almost $7 million at Georgia. Fisher, $7.5. Ogeron, almost 8.9, and Saban 9.3 per year.
Boy, oh boy.
So it's about a little over 4.
Yeah. The thing about Jimbo Fisher is $75 million guaranteed.
Yeah, that is unreal.
I guarantee.
Yeah.
And then you know what? And I was giving Jimbo a hard time early in the year. You know that he was overrated, but you know I'm about to make an apology because he's done a good job with A&M. You know, since the first of the year, since after Alabama beat them as bad as they did.
Well, get ready for Auburn.
Yeah. In fact, we still got a lot of good games left, but I couldn't tell you who did Alabama goes up against. Arkansas this week?
No, we have LSU.
Oh, excuse me, LSU, and that game's going to be played in Baton Rouge. And let me tell you this. I don't know how many players will be able to play at LSU, but those that will have a gun with them because I mean they're going to hit Alabama like nobody's ever hit them. Yeah. They're not going to be able to beat them, but they're going to sure be there. It's going to be a tough game physically.
It will be.
Alabama's a 28-point favorite. I'd like to see in the history of lines in this series if that's the highest line ever, 28 points.
I would think it would be one of the highest. One of the reasons we're saying this, you know, the coach is under scrutiny. You know, all kinds of things been thrown out about LSU and their program, and the coach is under fire. And then I was talking to on our show yesterday. Forrest looked back and saw that the buyout for Orgeron, Mike, is $27 million. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. What do you think?
He was quoted yesterday they're going to win another championship.
If you go on probation, you know, and all this happens, I mean, he was the coach. He's going to get fired for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. Like we've said so many times on this show, is all they are is just a quarterback away. A quarterback away, because you bring in a first-class quarterback and everybody else starts looking real good, you know, starts playing real good.
Well, if I was a quarterback, I'd be looking.
They got some numbers out right now in the playoffs right now. If Alabama was to play Ohio State out in Vegas, Alabama would be a 4-point favorite. If they were to play Clemson, they'd be 6.5. And then if they were to play Notre Dame, they'd be a 10.5-point favorite. So Alabama's favored
to win the national championship.
Everybody right now. Of course, Alabama gets Waddle back. Look out.
Oh, yeah.
That would be incredible for the playoffs.
And you know what? Let me tell you this. Our number 6 at Alabama, the great receiver, my mind's gone blank.
Devonta Smith.
Smith. Hey, he was a step away from running 2 punts back for touchdowns against Auburn. You know, I mean, he's a threat too.
He's tough. He's tough.
Well, he's like he's been shot out of a cannon. He's so fast.
In my opinion, he needs to be winning the Heisman. He's having an unbelievable year.
He really is, and of course, the quarterback. You know, everybody that sees Alabama on TV has to love this quarterback. He looks like a little schoolboy. You know, he doesn't look like a major college quarterback.
His story is similar to Burrow's. You know, because he had 3 offers. One was at Mercer, where his mother went to school, and I forgot the other one. Then he was interested in Kentucky, but Alabama came in late, and he decided, well, I'm not big and strong enough. If I go into SEC play at Kentucky within a year or two, he said, I'm going to Alabama, knowing who they had already signed, Tua and others. So
and he weighed about 175 pounds. He wasn't a big kid at all.
But he got better, got stronger, and
now I would think anybody nationwide that sees them play would just love this guy, this schoolboy, you know, out of Bowles. Well, you know, of course, Bowles is one of the top.
Florida.
Out of Jacksonville, one of the top football or schools in the country, and of course, it's a private school located in Jacksonville.
It was East Carolina, his mother's alma mater of Mercer, and then Kentucky. But then he went with Alabama. Those were the 3 schools before Bama.
That's right. He would have. Kentucky would have loved him, wouldn't they?
They would have loved him.
Of course, what happened to Kentucky, Mike? Boy, our guy that transferred to Kentucky. What happened to him?
Sawyer Smith is a 4-string quarterback.
Sawyer Smith. Do you remember him when he was at Troy? I wonder where Sawyer would be if he was still at Troy now, Mike. Would he be in the running?
I would think he would probably be the starter, I would think, with all his experience.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, I think he was close to Gunnar Watson, I would think.
Exactly. Well, I think Troy, I'm hoping.
Troy's got to figure out, you know, they went out and recruited the top junior college quarterback, at least on paper, in the country. One of them, the guy at Navarro, was American, was Parker McNeil. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. I mean, something happened after the spring. He was like co-starting. You know, now he's like 4-string. I mean, how can you miss on a quarterback?
Somebody told me that during that period of time, you know, at the end of the spring and when they were supposed to report back, he gained a bunch of weight or something, and was having a hard time adjusting to the system. And you know, those, which are minor things. You know, you saw him Saturday, and man, you talking about pretty. He is sure pretty. I don't know how good he is, but he sure looked good. Did you see him?
No, I was out of town.
And of course, he didn't have much of an opportunity. I think a couple of drop passes and so forth. You know.
I want to know what Will Nappy is. What did you do when you saw that Saints Denver line this weekend when you knew Denver did not have a quarterback on the roster? It was at 16.5. They pretty much had to run the Wildcat. They had a backup wide receiver on the practice squad that played a little bit of quarterback at Wake Forest. That was one of the weirdest pro games I've ever seen in my life.
His name was Lindsey, wasn't it? Yeah.
They had no ability whatsoever to score. I mean, I don't know how that line went with 25.
Well, they just.
Well, I went with the Saints, but where I got hosed, I went under the points. I didn't think Denver would score a point. And the over-under was 34, and it hit on 34, so it tied.
Yeah.
What about?
They won 31. They won 31-3. That is unbelievable that they had no quarterback whatsoever to play in that game.
You know, you would think they would just take it off the board. They would just take it completely off the board.
They'll never.
Well, I guess they had enough players that were healthy to play.
Yeah. Well, of course, want to mention, Mike, a lot going on here and a lot of cancellations. You know, the couple. I haven't heard from some of our people here locally. I hear that on the 7th, which is a Monday, there will be a Christmas parade in downtown Troy, which is great that they're going to do that. And it's going to be live from our studios right here. From downtown Troy. Well, the annual Christmas parade will be next Monday, like we said, and of course, Bird Drugs will be open. Is open today for serving breakfast, and of course, my favorite drugstore in town. And of course, want to mention our friends at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass, and of course, Jason and his team is selling cars like never before. Tremendous savings right now on Dodge, Chrysler, Jeeps, and Ram trucks from Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Ram trucks in Troy, Alabama. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back.
A personal touch, a high level of trust, whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
By its very nature, doing big things takes resilience and strength. You did the hard part. You did it, and will go farther still. Max is proud to be your champion, removing obstacles that get in your way. We make technology easy, saving and funds access uncomplicated, and provide help when and how you want it. You control your money with expert guidance from Max Credit Union. Smart money made simple.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
A personal touch, a high level of trust, whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Small forward.
Back to our show, some news that a lot of you sports fans will remember. The great Terry Compton, Vanderbilt basketball player, and Terry Compton died of the virus. Is that right? Will
Your word you said, Mike.
Oh, you can't hear me. You can't hear me now. Okay, we're talking about Terry Compton that played at Vanderbilt with an all-SEC, I think he's probably All-American, great player, has died, and of course, it was from symptoms of the virus, and that's awfully sad. And of course, we've got friends of ours out there right now that need our prayers, and we're very concerned.
Said he was 68 years old, and his nickname was the Long Rifle.
The Long Rifle,
when he played basketball.
Yep.
And give us some stats on him. He was a great shooter, I know that.
He was a two-time All-SEC team performer, led the Commodores to a 59-19 record in his 3 seasons and a berth in the NCAA tournament as a senior. He scored 1,300 points. no three-point shot in that era.
That's right.
He's the F troop.
Yeah, and of course that was a great time in Vanderbilt history.
Ford, Fosnies, and Ferber.
That's right.
Yeah. Now
yeah, for 3 consecutive seasons, he led the team in scoring.
That's right. He was really good, no question about it. Skinner was their coach, wasn't he?
Right, Roy Skinner.
Yeah, and of course, Tennessee was real good during that time too. They had 2 guys that were pretty good on that team.
They had Ernie Brunfeld and Bernard King.
Yeah, that's right. The Bernie and Ernie show. You remember that? They were pretty good, wasn't they? Was that back when you were there,
Yes.
Will?
Yes.
The Bernie and Ernie show, and boy, when they played, that was
my favorite Vanderbilt player of all time was Barry Goheen.
Yeah, I liked him too. I liked Barry Goheen too. And Vanderbilt, let me tell you this about, of course, you knew all about it because you were there, but you couldn't get a seat for a home basketball game. It was hard to do, wasn't it, at Vanderbilt?
Oh, yeah, they sold
15,000 every game, wasn't it?
15,626 every game.
And still to this day, and they're still playing in the same old arena, and they've got there are 2 things that are really different at Vanderbilt than any other place, and tell us what they are. Can y'all do it?
Floors.
Well, the floor is raised up above the crowd.
The actual floor is raised up above the crowd. In fact, the press uses the floor as their desk.
And that the players sit under the basket.
That's right. Yeah. And the players sit at the ends of the court.
Yeah.
That's right. You're right.
This Compton kid, your friend, is from Horse Cave, Kentucky. Since the 8th grade, he started, and he led his team in scoring every year in high school and every year at Vanderbilt.
From Horse Cave, Kentucky. Now that sounds like back in the old days, doesn't it?
And I'm reading online.
Terry was one of my roommates, and we had 8 people. Vanderbilt didn't have a jock dorm like Alabama or Auburn, anything like that, but we had a suite with 8 people in it. I was the golfer in there. There was 1 tennis player. There were 2 baseball players.
Oh, boy.
2 basketball players and 2 football players.
Well, that was unusual.
And he talked real funny because of where he was from,
Yeah, you're right.
and he used to use the backboard on every shot he took from the side. You don't see that anymore.
No, you don't. I tell you who used to do that more than anybody was UCLA. They used to shoot long, they didn't have the 3-point play, but they used to use the board, like you said, on all the outside, the corner shot.
Yeah.
And the reason he did it, it gives the rebounders more time if the shot doesn't go in to get to the ball.
A lot of these players came from little bitty schools like Dan Issel. He came from Indiana, from Indiana to play at Kentucky. He was a great player. Issel played during Mavage's era, and Issel averaged over 30 points a game. But that was overseen. Mavage was averaging 44 points a game.
Said that he was, in his article that I'm reading, that he was quoted as saying that he was offered a scholarship to Kentucky by Adolph Rupp.
Yeah.
But it was contingent upon whether or not this other player was going to. He was in line for another place. He said, well, that did it for me. He said, if he didn't want me, I'm going somewhere else.
Right.
He wanted to go to engineering school, so he said Vanderbilt was the best fit. And he named the guy who tried to, that was recruiting him, one of the assistant coaches.
Now
Ron, this is Mr. Compton.
Ron Bargatze was
That's it.
the recruiter.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, Ron called me when he died.
Did he?
And, Ron coached for Center, and, he was a real good assistant coach.
Yeah. I was trying to think of it.
This is your daily Vanderbilt athletics report here on Today in LA.
Yeah, exactly right.
Who would be the Mount Rushmore of Vanderbilt athletics?
Well,
Who would be on your Mount Rushmore?
Baseball or basketball?
who is the center there? It was Lee, Clyde Lee. You remember Clyde Lee?
You would have David Price in baseball, probably.
You'd have definitely Bill Wade in football.
Well, our George Blanda played at
Kentucky.
No, that's right. He played at Kentucky. You're right.
He played in Kentucky.
You'd have Jay Cutler, probably.
Billy Wade was the quarterback for the Bears for years.
Yeah, Bill Wade, Clyde Lee.
Yeah, and I mentioned Clyde Lee just a while ago.
Dansby Swanson.
Well, hey, how about that?
You'd have Will Perdue.
Yeah, Will Perdue was a good center. But you're right, there were some great players out there.
You'd have Brant Snedeker and Goff.
Yeah, yeah, Snedeker is pretty good. You're right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having a great day on the first day of December, and of course.
Dad, I was reading an interesting article. Maura Davenport's having to sit this year. The former Charles Central grade basketball player. She transferred from Rutgers, and you would think with COVID going on, all this craziness, they allow transfers to play right away, but she's having to sit out this year in Athens. Won't be able to play for Georgia.
Is that where she's playing at Georgia now?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's got to sit out the whole year.
I didn't know she had transferred to Georgia. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, we talked about it on the show. She's playing with Jay Barker's daughter. He's the best player out of Birmingham that signed with Georgia this past year.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wish her a lot of luck, and hope everything works out. How's our girl doing at Belmont?
I don't know. I hadn't looked. I'll have to look and see. Josh Roberts got the start last night for St. John's. The kid out of Charles Henderson.
At a Charles Henderson High School, played for St. John's.
Skinny as a rail was.
That's right, but boy, he could jump. And I was in the gym at the same time and sitting very close to. We were doing the broadcast, but we were sitting close to a Troy coach. You would think they would have gone overboard to try to get that kid.
He was a late bloomer,
yeah.
I think, and
great jumper and so forth.
There's not many kids that are 6'9" that come out of Charles Henderson High School. That's pretty amazing.
Mike, of course, Troy goes to South Alabama for a big game this weekend in football, but when is the next home basketball game for Troy? Do you know?
I'll have to look it up. Troy's playing Auburn in basketball in a few weeks.
I know it. I'd love to make that trip. That would be a lot of fun to go over and watch them play Auburn.
Yeah, the Wake Forest game got canceled. We mentioned that earlier in the show.
That would have been a big game for Troy to play a team like Wake Forest. Wake Forest had traditionally.
Do you think they were staying in North Carolina? They were already playing in that tournament up there. I wonder if they were just staying and didn't come back.
I don't know.
Troy after that will be at home. It looks like next home game will be. Wow, they got a long time before they're home. Sanford on December 16th.
Sanford.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sanford Bulldogs. Yeah.
Today's only the first, so you got 2 more weeks.
That's right. Now, when is the next game on the road? Do they even have a game between?
Yeah,
before then?
They play UAB Sunday in
That's
Birmingham
right.
at Bartow, and then they turn around after that and they go to Florence, Alabama to play the UNA Lions.
UNA Lions. You know what? If I was a young man, I'd I'd drive to both those games. That'd be fun. Now UAB.
They probably don't allow fans.
I'll tell you something about North Alabama. They are traditionally a good basketball school, and back in the old days, they won a national championship and are really good. But Troy, of course, off to a 1-2 start or 1-1 start.
1-1. They beat Western Carolina and lost to North Carolina Wilmington.
Yeah, and of course Wilmington is a very well-to-do school in basketball, no question about it. Of course, I was wanting to mention also a lot of things going on, with Christmas gatherings and so forth, and please, when you're away from your home, make sure you wear your mask, whether or not you're going to to the post office or to the drugstore or to a restaurant, wear your mask and be prepared to not only protect yourself but to protect your friends and your neighbors and whatever. I'm still bad about walking about halfway to the post office or halfway to the drugstore and saying, "Oh gosh, I forgot my mask," and I turn around and go back and get it. But this is a basic thing. This is basic for anything. It's like wearing a cap. If you're going anywhere outside of your yard or you're outside of your home, you need to wear your mask. And Forrest, you have a mask if you need it, don't you?
I've got one. Yes, sir.
But
so Forrest, how's that work for somebody that's actually had the coronavirus? I mean, how long do your antibodies? I mean, you technically probably wouldn't have to wear a mask right now.
Well, I've never really been told that, but I think when I read about Coach Saban, he's got a 90-day window where he hadn't got to be tested again. It's what I read as far as the Southeastern Conference protocol.
You're all right now. Like you having the virus, like you could go and not have to worry about it for a certain amount of months. I don't know how that works.
I guess, people, you hear reports, like there was a world-class athlete who plays soccer in Europe. He has tested positive for the second time. They say people are testing positive for the second time. You don't hear a whole lot about it, but I don't want it again, but I wouldn't affect it that bad in my opinion.
When is the vaccine coming to the public? I keep on hearing various reports. Somebody said this week, somebody said next week. I mean, when are we actually going to have it?
Well, I'm sure, I don't know, but the primary top of the list probably the nurses and doctors, and then the military would get, if there's people who need to get it first, it'd be those people.
The thing is, though, have you been tested lately?
Well, I went, about 2 weeks after that, I went to get tested with my wife, about a week and a half just to check. Well, they tested her, but she said, "We're not testing you because you've already had it."
What does that mean? That you can't have it again?
Well, she didn't say that.
He has the antibodies in his system.
Yeah,
that's
said
right.
So at that particular location, so she said, I was already going back to work and everything, and but Jody has been back at work now for a good week and a half, but they tested her, but they wouldn't test me again.
Well,
I see who they ought to give it to first is all these people that work at these grocery stores. Bless their heart.
I know.
They ought to be giving it to them immediately as well.
Yeah. When I worked at the golf course, college kids, different people coming in, they got to pay with money or credit cards. So I'd handle it all the time, and then I'd wash my hands and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it can be anywhere.
So is it in your system or is it out of your system?
It should be out of my system. It's probably in my blood, where I've had it, to see that I've got the...
Well,
I need to go give blood is what I need to do, because they want people who've had it to give blood. And I normally, when Red Cross comes, that's normally when I give. I have given a Life South before, but I try to hold back whenever Red Cross comes to town.
Exactly. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, our show is brought to you by, and let me tell you this, you're talking about great chicken. There's no better chicken in the country. And of course, I was trying to make things look good, and I went by and bought some barbecue, and boy, we really enjoyed our barbecue. And then last night.
So you never sent the place. You went to Hooks, I guess.
Yeah, I went to Hooks, the best barbecue you'll find anywhere, and bought the ribs. And I was, these guys were from Virginia that were visiting us, and they're supposed to be famous for their barbecue. And the guy told me, he said, Keith, one of the people, this was his stepson that was looking at Troy, and he said, "Man, I'll come back just to get the barbecue." So Hooks might have sold him on Troy. And and then the thing about it, my wife and I were laughing about it last night. said we should have took him by Crow's Chicken and see what his response to that would have been.
Well, if I went to Pike Liberal Arts School, I'd be missing about lunchtime every day, I guess, but Monday. There'd be a path back and forth down the
You know, this virus has really affected so many people in so many ways, and we're praying for so many people. You know, I've got two of my closest friends that are fighting the virus right now. One of them is of course, is in Memphis, and Joan, we're praying for you, my friend, and hopefully, you know, modern medicine and the new drugs that are out can save her life. And of course, you know, what I cannot understand though, and you watch it on TV, and everybody talking about this vaccine. Well, you know, it's not worth a damn if you don't use it. You know, I mean, hey, stop talking about it. Hey, let's see some revolt. Let's start saving some people's lives. You know, let's do that. Why don't we? You know, and
well, it's got to get 100% approval. You know, I mean, they can't put it out there if they don't know 100% it's going to work. I mean, they're saying 95%, 96%. Until it, you know, it gets the 100%, I guess they can't do it.
You know, I think dollar signs are playing a big part too. These companies.
Well, you know, Gates real involved. You know,
boy, he really is.
I mean, there's a lot of real big money people involved with all of this.
I'm sure there is. Somebody's gonna get filthy, even richer. You know, whatever it looks like.
Well, I mean, it basically looks like there's like 5 or 6 almost ready to go. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, they said. I mean, from what I remember reading or hearing, sometime this week or next week is what I thought I heard, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, I sure hope so, and that will.
Maybe we can have a doctor call in the show and tell us. I don't know.
You know, that will be the biggest celebration ever. You know, if these vaccines work.
If they work.
You know, it'll be unreal.
Well, it took them forever to get a vaccine for polio.
Yeah.
But you know, with everybody's on the, I mean. That's at the front of the line.
And you know
who
has done more to fight polio than any organization in the world is the Rotary Club. The Rotary International has taken on its own to do away with polio, and they look like they're going to do it.
My mother-in-law, who passed away about a year ago, Shirley Cruz Fowler, when she was a little girl, she contracted polio, and she grew up in Warm Springs, Georgia, and but she was in the hospital, and Franklin Roosevelt, you know, visited there. Sure. He had polio, President Roosevelt. Well, he rode into her room one day.
Did he really?
And tickled her on her big toe and said, "This little polio is nothing. It's going to be okay." And he tickled her on her big toe. Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
That's right. He was. I tell you what, when you start looking at great presidents, he would be in the top 5 at least, you know. You know, just.
Dad, do you want to go over some games we didn't get to mention yesterday?
Let's do. That'll be fun. What you got?
We'll start with Iowa State. They beat Texas. Of course, Texas coach Tom Herman. A lot of people think he's going to get fired. I don't know who will get the Texas job. You're hearing Urban Meyer's name creeping out for Texas. Wouldn't be a horrible hire. He's had some baggage, but he's a great coach.
Yeah.
You had Iowa beat Nebraska 26-20. I tell you what, I watched a little bit of this game. Notre Dame was really impressive.
They were.
Beat North Carolina 31-17. Other games this past weekend, Stanford beat Cal 24-23. Huge upset out west. Oregon State beat Oregon 41-38 in a game where you could barely see on television.
The
so
fog.
rainy and foggy.
Yeah.
Great game here. I kept up with this game. I was interested in Georgia State, man. I tell you what, that coach at Georgia State can really coach. Beat Georgia Southern 30-24, came back and won the game. So Georgia State now, I think it's 5-4. I think Georgia Southern is now 6-4. They fired their offensive coordinator yesterday. So Georgia Southern is going to be looking for a new offensive coordinator.
So are they going to continue to run the option? You reckon?
I don't know.
You know, that was. Let me tell you what. That game there that Troy played. That game that Troy played with them, and that game the second game Troy played with Middle Tennessee should have been wins. Those should have definitely been wins. Troy was better than Georgia Southern. But Georgia Southern kept the ball away from them. That's how they beat them.
How great of a job has Eli Drinkowitz done at Missouri? He now has 4 wins at Missouri. Missouri beat Vandy 41-0.
You know, I don't know anything, but what I tell you, when Alabama played Missouri, and that young quarterback that came in late for that game, I said physically Missouri is ready to play. They're ready to play. They just need a quarterback. And
Indiana beats Maryland 27-11, but the story that came out yesterday is Indiana's great quarterback is now out for the year.
And that's going to hurt
Indiana really is going to get hurt by that. Penn State wins their first game on the road in Ann Arbor, beats Michigan 27-17. Other shocking scores. SMU was a 13-point favorite on the road against East Carolina. East Carolina's been awful.
East Carolina though.
East Carolina went 52-38.
You know, East Carolina has gotten better and better and better. Hey, how about Buffalo scored 70 points?
Florida beats Kentucky 34-10. Oklahoma State beats Texas Tech 50-44. Other games of interest: Coastal Carolina goes on the road, beats Texas State 49-14. Louisiana Lafayette at La Monroe 70-20.
Golly.
How bad do you think those La Monroe fans felt after watching that?
And you know, and hopefully La Monroe will play Troy and Troy on the 17th of December. Hopefully. They might quit before then.
South Alabama goes on the road as a 7.5-point underdog and beats Arkansas State 38-31. We talked about that earlier. Troy loses in Boone, North Carolina 47-10. I mean, Vegas gave Troy a lot of respect in that game. That line was at 14.
Yeah.
Alabama, of course, beat Auburn 42-13. Upset here, Michigan State. Mel Tucker's done a great job at Michigan State. They beat Northwestern, who was undefeated 29-20. I don't know if you might watch that game, but on the last play of the game, they did laterals. And they're passing back and forth. Michigan State picked it up, ran it in there, and scored a touchdown.
I don't know if that affected any betting or anything, but that was the first thing that came to my mind when that happened.
Clemson killed Pittsburgh 52-17. Trevor Lawrence's last game in a Clemson uniform at home. Ole Miss beat Mississippi State 31-24. Rutgers continues to shock people. Rutgers and Greg Schiano beat Purdue 37-30. They were a 12.5-point underdog.
That's right.
One at Purdue.
That's right.
Other games of interest: Georgia Tech beat Duke 56-33.
Georgia Tech's gotten better. They've gotten better.
Got one of their Cutcliffes on his way out the door, maybe at Duke. Baylor finally won another game. They beat Kansas State 32-31. Texas A&M beat LSU 20-7. Crazy game here. Over-under was 63. Memphis plays Navy at Navy. The final score was 10-7.
Golly.
Memphis.
Ain't that unreal?
Two teams that can really score. And then late night, very interesting game here. Utah gets up 21-0 at Washington. Washington comes all the way back and wins 24-21. Georgia beats South Carolina 45-16.
Who's the quarterback? Who is the quarterback for Georgia in that game, Mike?
J.T. Daniels again.
Yeah, so Daniels is taking over.
He's listed in the first round draft.
Yeah.
He is.
And then UCLA, Arizona 27-10. And then late night out west, Hawaii beats an undefeated Nevada team that was 5-0. Hawaii wins 24-21.
But they played at Nevada, though, didn't they? I mean, at Hawaii.
They played in Hawaii.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. They have to go across the ocean.
I'm surprised they didn't make them quarantine in Hawaii.
Exactly right. Brent Jones, I want you to hear it. I know you're watching our show this morning, but I want you to hear this. We won a game with Hawaii, and we don't. And I want to be on that charter.
Texas.
I want a game against Hawaii or UNLV.
Yeah, that's well.
Herman's buyout at Texas is over $15 million.
Yeah.
What I read on USA Today a while ago.
That is nothing. There's probably about 1,000 people that can pay that off.
Yeah. But let me tell you this. You're right. There's a lot of wealth there, but Norville, who's at Florida State, and this guy who's at Texas are the biggest disappointments in college coaching right now.
Florida State's a train wreck.
Exactly.
Florida Dabo Swinney has come out and said they refuse to go back to Tallahassee.
Yeah.
About the way he's running his program down there.
Exactly.
With all the COVID issues.
Yeah, exactly. Again, just a quarterback away, believe it or not, from being a winner. You better have a good man at quarterback, or you're just not going to win. That's sad to say, but it's the truth. But I'll tell you,
it's going to be the craziest offseason in college football history, with all these guys having another year to come back and play.
Oh, it really
and
is.
All these coaches basically trying to run these guys out the door that they don't want to keep anymore. I mean, it's going to be, the transfer issue is just going to be insane.
It is.
I can't imagine what rosters are going to look like.
And it's going to,
I brace for Inauguration Day. That's what bracing for, because basketball and baseball, look out.
Yeah.
Because there may be some shutdowns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It could all be shut down.
It's going to be tough.
I think
really
it's probably going to happen.
See, if they shut down football, think about shutting down basketball with with an arena where the virus would be even more contagious.
Well, the NCAA right now.
I can't do that with a vaccine coming out, though. I mean, wouldn't the vaccine
hopefully that would help things. I sure hope so.
Well, they have enough to give to everybody that needs it right away. And high school football state championship starts tomorrow.
That's
Auburn versus is it Tom? Who does Auburn play? Thompson.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Thompson,
in Tuscaloosa. They play at 7 o'clock. It's right here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, let me put my glasses on here so I can read.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. The big game starts tomorrow in Tuscaloosa. Auburn Tigers High School, 11-1 against Thompson High School of Alabaster, 13-0. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff from Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. And Thursday is the 3A finals, starting at 10 a.m. in the morning. On Thursday, Montgomery Catholic High School against Fife. Wait a minute, is it Fife or Fife? Well, either way you pronounce it, they're defending state champions, and I don't know how many in a row they've won, but they're 14-0 against Montgomery Catholic, 12-2. That's a big game at 10 o'clock from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Then at 2:45, you've got Class 1A finals with Linden, undefeated, 13-0 versus Pickens County, 11-3. That's a 2:45 kickoff. Now Class 5A, this is on Thursday the 3rd, features St. Paul's Episcopal. We know all about them. 14-0 versus Pleasant Grove, 11-2. That's a 7:30 kickoff. That's will be on Thursday night. On Friday night, December the 4th, Class 4A finals, Gordo against Hanley High School of Roanoke. That's a 10 a.m. game. And hear this, ladies and gentlemen, hear this. Class 2A finals, Abbeville, the Yellow Jackets, 12-1 versus Mars Hill Bible, 12-2, 2:45 kickoff. And that will be on Friday. And then let's see, we've got one more. We ran out of room here, but
that's 1, 3, and 3.
That's it. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
With the state championship games, all of them will be played in Tuscaloosa. And,
Mike, you mentioned Fife. They won the state championship in 2014, 2016, 2018, and 2019.
Gosh, when is the last time they've been beat?
I had to research that.
That coach has really been good up there, and of course it's a little town on top of Sand Mountain, Fife, Alabama. If you've been to Fort Payne, it's just over the ravine from Fort Payne. But and in fact,
44 games in a row.
More drives you can make.
44 games.
Fort Payne to Scottsboro to Guntersville. That is a gorgeous drive.
Yeah.
I mean, that part of Alabama is so pretty up there.
Really is. Bridgeport and some of those places too. Fife had won 44 straight, Mike. Regular season, I reckon that's everything.
That's everything.
44 straight. And they don't. And how many state championships?
Well, they've won, I think, 5 of the last 6 years. They've won 5.
Exactly
what is the record? Edgewood or does Edgewood get the record, or does Andalusia have the record?
Well, I think Edgewood's like 70-something, 70 in the 70 wins, 72.
And Andalusia won 56 or 58 straight games, but they were regular season now.
Didn't Arrington have a long winning streak at one time? Arrington, long.
I don't know about Arrington, but there was a school, either Thorsby or Verbena. One of the other of those schools won 50 straight games at one time. And I
think Hoover won around 35 or 40 one time.
Another team that won a bunch of games in a row was Hayneville under Mac Champion. Hayneville won a bunch of state championships at that time, and then they became a private school, and I can remember seeing them with Mac Champion as the coach. Of course, Mac's dead now, but he won a lot of football games. But I saw him play Robert E. Lee and Crampton Bowl one time, a little bitty Hayneville, and they stayed with him for most of the game. And it's amazing how some of these great programs like that, and like this Mars Hill Bible, check on it now. They've won quite a few state championships. Of course, Fife is they've won 2 or 3 straight. Like Bart said, they won 44 straight games, so they've done pretty well. No question about it.
Looks like Saban is going to be healthy and cleared for the LSU game, so that'll be good for Alabama fans to have Nick Saban on the sidelines again. Of course, Steve Sarkisian did a terrific job against Auburn, so I don't know how much you need Saban when you're a 28-point favorite.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this again. I mentioned that I probably didn't do a very good job of it, but LSU is going to hit them like nobody's ever hit them in their life because LSU is a physical team. But I can hear this coach saying, he said, well, let me tell you this, guys, we're going to make them earn everything they get.
Yeah, they're going to be out for
it's going to be a fist fight, what it's going to be.
It will be.
And, of course.
Tide don't lose in Baton Rouge is what they always say, though. Alabama's been dominant down in Baton Rouge.
I'll tell you the most dominant performance ever, and I'll question this to anybody, of Alabama going to LSU is when Alexander, as a pure freshman.
Sean Alexander?
Sean Alexander as a pure freshman. How many yards he gained, Mike? Close to 300, I think, didn't he?
I think 291.
291. As a pure freshman. And one thing you noticed about Sean Alexander was he had thighs. You couldn't hardly reach around one thigh. He had huge thighs. And of course, the great one at Texas,
Earl Campbell.
Earl Campbell had the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you tackle a guy you can't even reach around his thighs? They're so big, And of course,
the kid from Brundage had a great game in LSU when Alabama came back and won a game one time. Quincy Jackson.
Yeah.
2 big touchdown catches against LSU.
The great Quincy Jackson, yes, sir. We salute Quincy Jackson.
He was a really good wide receiver for Alabama. A lot of people don't miss him now, but he was really good.
That's right. And you know what? His nephew Foster became a great player too. At Pike County High School. I tell you, you look back over their history and you could just names after names after names.
Yeah. Fred Baxter.
And they've got a kid right now. I want to say McKinney, or I can't remember. They've got a kid right now at Pike County that's a big time player.
Is he a senior?
No. I think he's just a sophomore.
Won the state championship in basketball this past year. They have many guys back from that state championship basketball team.
Who is that now?
Pike County.
Pike County won the state championship in basketball.
They sure did. They sure did.
I know they lost the big man who was about 6'8", 6'9". He graduated.
He went to Shelton State.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope he'll end up at Troy one day, maybe. But you're right, Mike. We've sort of forgot about those things.
That's going to be a doubleheader on CBS. It's the Florida-Tennessee game, and then Alabama versus LSU. It's going to be on CBS. A doubleheader.
Exactly.
This Saturday. And
Pruitt feel like the one mistake, regardless of what happens at the end of the season, is how in the world could he have trusted Jerry Garantano all these years at quarterback?
Yeah.
How can Tennessee not have found another quarterback by now?
You know, Mike, I told you that at the first of the season. I didn't think they had a good quarterback in him. You know, and another thing.
They won, a lot of people don't realize they won 8 games in a row.
Yeah. Until
they lost to Georgia. They had won 8 in a row.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just hard to believe.
No question about it. No question. And all remains to be seen. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. All right, we just got 2 minutes left. We'll stay on. We'll stay on. Brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Real Estate Connection. We appreciate them. Also, want to mention our good friends at Troy Health and Rehab, located on the Elba Enterprise Highway for long-term health care, short-term rehab. Troy Health and Rehab. We appreciate them so much. And also our good friends at Troy Bank and Trust Company. The only bank you'll ever need is at Troy Bank and Trust Company, with 13 locations to choose from, and we appreciate them and their support. And also, I want to mention our good friends at Pike Troy Regional Medical Center, one of the great local hospitals in Alabama. We appreciate it so much. And Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeeps, and Ram trucks on the bypass right here in Troy. And of course, Jason Gregory and all the people there are selling cars like you will not believe. And of course, not only brand new cars and trucks, but also great deals on new deals on used cars and trucks. And we appreciate them very much, being a great part of our community.
I want to know, will people be crazy enough to get out there and play golf in this horrible weather today?
Well, I'm going to open up about 9, and we'll see. They may send me home, but there might be some folks playing.
I tell you what, you got to really want to play if it's about 30 degrees.
Yeah, they may want to tee off around 11 or 12. We'll see when I get over there.
I tell you what, it's a beautiful setting down there. If you want to just go and relax and enjoy the setting, you feel like you're in a cornfield. Tell you the truth.
You may see a deer run by every now and then.
That's right. You're exactly right. And the great people, and that's a beautiful place. And that's the best deal in town, not only to play golf, but also to be a member of a golf course. Like. Very reasonably.
If you need a snack, just crack you some of those pecans that are laying on the ground.
I know it, boy. You really got them. You're right. No question about it. More pecan trees. Y'all can make a living just off your pecan trees, probably.
Well, they're not selling for much this year.
I know they're not, are they?
The statewide.
If y'all had a driving range out there, all those people from the distribution center would come on their lunch break and come out there and probably hit balls.
And we'll have Bob
nice
Whaley with Whaley Pecan Company on our show. Either this week or next week. We might wait until Monday to do it, and of course.
Well, I'll go ahead and say this right now. I want all the pecan brittle you can give me.
Yeah, I know it. It is good, isn't it? It is really, really good. No question about it. And Whaley Pecan Company, of course, is known throughout the country. As one of the top shellers of pecans, and they make their own pecan pies now. All their candies. They make them right there in the store. They have a wonderful Christmas store right there, and all kinds of great gift ideas from Whaley's. And of course, you want to send pecans all across the country. All you have to do is give them your address and your credit card number, and they'll do it for you. And they do a wonderful job. And of course.
I want a Forrest Lee pecan pie. I'll be in Troy on December the 18th, Forrest. If you want to make me one.
I'm gonna write that down. December 18th.
Yeah, man. Maybe he might.
I'm writing it down.
Might give me a piece of that delicious pecan pie. Hope everybody's enjoyed our show today, and we appreciate you very much. We come back on at 1:30. Hope that you have a great day. Stay warm, and we'll see you